What's up, guys? Today we're going to be reviewing the Pixel 4. So the Pixel 4 is a phone that is a kind of unique phone. It's not really for everyone, and that's one of the things I noticed using this phone. So let's go ahead and go over the hardware and specs real quick before we get into it. So this is a glass and metal design, and as always, you kind of have an awkward design with the Pixel phones. I still have mixed feelings about the design. I'm not really feeling the camera module. It's kind of iPhone-ish, and I thought it was going to grow on me, and it still has not grown on me. This glossy back is actually not that bad. It doesn't pick up fingerprints as bad as you would think. Also, you have cool little things like the little white accent button on here. One of the most awkward things about this phone is probably the display. Now, I really like small size phones, 5.7-inch phones. I don't have a problem with that. It's the big forehead on here. That's because you have Google's sensor on here, or their radar, which gives you some extremely fast face unlock, which is almost dead on 100% of the time and never messes up. But the one thing about the face unlock is actually if you close your eyes, you can actually still open it. Now, Google is actually using a software update to fix this. So it's good that they're going to fix it, but that's kind of unfortunate that you can't really have a secure phone, right out of the box. Now, you do have USB Type-C and dual speakers on the bottom, which we will get to. Now, here's one of the first problems with this phone. This phone costs $850 after tax, and the specs are kind of underwhelming for almost a $1,000 phone, and this isn't even the XL model. So you get Android 10 right out of the box, the Snapdragon 855, Adreno 640 GPU. You have no expandable storage. That's something I did not like. You have 64 gigabytes of storage. That's also a big thing that I did not like. You should at least get 128 gigabytes of storage. So I really don't understand what's going on there. 6 gigabytes of RAM. Now, you do have a 12.2 megapixel camera that is a wide, a 16 megapixel telephoto lens, but Google decided to opt out of the ultra wide camera. That is also another thing that I felt like was missing for an almost $1,000 phone. So I know this review kind of sounds a little brutal, and I actually like the phone. It's just it's missing a lot of stuff. Now, this phone does have NFC, you have USB Type-C, you also have no fingerprint scanner. That is another thing that is missing on this phone. So I know I'm seeming harsh, but I'll get into the reasons of the stuff that I actually love about this phone. But you have a 2,800 milliamp battery, and also you have wireless charging, which is good. Now, the display on here is an OLED display, and it's a pretty nice display. It's a full HD display, 1080 by 2280 and 441 for the PPI. So it actually looks pretty nice. It looks very sharp, and it is a 90 Hz display, so it's extremely nice. One of the things you have to do is force 90 Hz. It's not on here by default. The 90 Hz by default only works at 75%. Now, I'm using the OnePlus 7 Pro as my daily driver, so Google basically has to sell me on getting rid of my 7 Pro and using this as my daily driver. The big problem I have, like I said, it's not with the display size, it's with this big chin right here. So if I'm watching videos like this in 1440p for $600, trying to sell me on this display that's got this big thing right here, big bezels and everything, it's just not a good look. Other than that, the display does look really good. It's very sharp, very crystal clear, so it is a very nice display. One of the things you will love on this phone is the dual speakers. They're extremely loud. They have excellent quality. Some of the best speakers that I've heard in any smartphone. I mean, that is just impressive. It is extremely nice. Google has introduced some gestures with this phone. You can go ahead and turn them on. You basically have to swipe over like that, and it works majority of the time. Once you get the hang of it, it's pretty cool. So if you have greasy hands or stuff on your hands, you don't want to touch your screen, you can just use these gestures to swipe back and forth. And like I said, it works majority of the time. So I usually haven't had an issue with this. It's actually a pretty nice feature to have. Now I haven't used it a whole bunch. I kind of forget it's there unless, you know, I'm forcing myself to use it. But, you know, some people might like it, so I haven't had an issue with it. Now, one of the things I love about this phone is Android 10. It's extremely smooth, very fast. It almost has not lagged at all. I haven't had any lag issues that I could find, and it is very nice. So I'm very impressed with Android 10. It's extremely fast. Now, if you want to do gaming on this phone, the Pixel 4 is capable of doing gaming. I have no problems with it. As you can see, you're able to play the latest games lag free. Some people are not going to like to play on the smaller display, but like I said, I did not have a problem with it at all. So gaming on here is fine if you're a gamer. Now let's go ahead and talk about the camera on the Pixel 4. So it's an extremely nice camera. That's one of the real reasons you're going to consider picking up this phone. I mean, it takes some excellent photos in whatever setting you're in. So whether you're indoors, outdoors, at night, it's going to take some beautiful photos. As you can see from my camera and video test, it just took some excellent photos. It really blew me away. It took some of the best photos that I've seen on any smartphone. It's right up there with the iPhone 11 in terms of quality. So it doesn't matter whether it's a selfie or whatever, you'll be able to take some awesome photos. I showed my family and they thought it was a DSLR, so that's how impressive the Pixel 4's camera is. You can also shoot in 4K on the Pixel 4, but the thing is it's going to take up a lot of storage, and then putting like 64 gigabytes of storage in there was not the move. So I really don't understand that. So let's go ahead and talk about battery life. So you're going to get about 6 to 7 hours of battery life, but the only way to get that is to have the dark mode on, and you also have to have dark mode in the most recent apps that you use and stuff like that. So if an app supports dark mode, you should turn it on. Those apps that you use the most, make sure that's on, and you should get some pretty decent battery life with the Pixel 4. So I didn't have a whole bunch of issues with battery life on this phone. I thought it was pretty decent.